Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of the Event Tech Talk Show, live from the show floor at International Confex. I am joined by my special guest, Felicia from Cvent. She's kindly given us 25 minutes of her time. She's escaped the stand for 25 minutes. That's what's happened.
That's what's happened.
She's letting the team fly. She's done her job. They're there. She can relax now. But Felicia's coming on today to talk a little bit about event-led growth. Which you play that role in Cvent, right?
Yeah.
Organizing Cvent Connect Europe, also helping the team activate on trade shows, doing dinners and things like that. And I think I want to talk to you a little bit more about like the practice of that and why some of these smaller events and what they look like to Cvent and the value of them and maybe when they shouldn't do that.
Oh, no, good questions.
You're talking to planners all the time at Cvent, you and your team, and you are a planner yourself. What shifts are you seeing in event programs? How are people keeping things interesting? I know this is a challenge that you have every year with the Cvent Connect.
Oh, absolutely. I'm already thinking about it. I'm like, what are we going to do this year that's different from last year?
Up in the bar.
Absolutely, every single time. So, I mean, I'm a marketer at my core, a marketing director. And being at Cvent has made me more of a planner than I've ever been in my life, which is actually kind of cool because I think in the past I've been at trade shows my whole career as a salesperson and then, as a marketer, but I just sort of attended them. I just, turned up at the trade show, scan the leads I need to scan, take them home, hopefully call someone, do another one, do something else. It's been very disparate. It's been very almost sporadic. It's like, okay, well, that trade show's in June, so we're going, whatever. Then we go and do another thing. I think what's changed and what we're seeing people rightly so shift to is that should be a part of a series and a journey. It should be that there's a reason that we're meeting at this trade show. I want to meet certain people at this trade show. I'm almost like that is an absolute gem in I call them milestones for my team. I'm like, what group of people are you interested in talking to? And what are the milestones where you're going to get to see them face to face, which is where you build the most trust. It's where you have the most human connection. So I'm here, and we had an event, a joint event last year with two partners, and I asked people, what are you going to do next year? 2026 is coming, and they were like, smaller events. It's a big thing. Every one of them were like smaller events, and I was like, and are you going to invest? So you taking that money out of your big events for your small events? They were like, no. We're probably going to still want the big events, and I think that's the transition we're in. They still want that big, wow brand moment, but they recognize those relationship builds need to happen with different audiences at smaller events. So, yeah.
And is that being led by those audiences also wanting more of those smaller, more intimate occasions kind of thing?
Funnily enough, the event that we had was intimate. It was in a basement I know, you're like, what? We've got this PR firm called Propeller who we've been working with for Cannes Lions, and they said, hey, why don't you and Cheerful, because Cheerful, great company as well, get together and just host a bunch of marketers that are all doing similar things and trying to figure it out. It was so nice. It was so intimate. We had these I know it's going to sound really weird. We had these really big sandwiches, and it was such a talking point because no one could eat the sandwiches. It was like we're all walking around with these huge subs. Like, so what are you going to do next year? But it was fun, and we had like all the up lights, and it was just quite nice.
So Felicia's top tip is host these smaller events, do something really weird and quirky and off the wall, like a massive glass of juice or something like that with a big straw, and then that'll be the talking.
Everyone was like, how do I carry my bag and the sub? But so I think it was almost that kind of like inception moment. Like, we're a small event, we get to talk to each other. People were telling me how they make money on a boat in Cannes Lion because they've pre-planned that is a step on a journey where they're going to meet someone on Snoop Dogg's boat. I was like, okay, because we can all do that, but it was a point. I will meet you there on the, coast of the south of France at this time because it's intimate,
I think what we're also doing there is we're giving people memories, right?
Yeah.
And memories are really, really powerful when you are looking at building relationships with people. Point of time, a reference. I think we need to do more of that in the events industry in general. I was talking to the guys that are doing some of the photo activation on this show. They were asking for my advice. I was like, remind me of how great my time there was last year.
Right.
And would probably be the biggest driver for me reattending because I want to go back and have a chat with those people and reconnect and those kinds of things. So by those smaller events, you're giving people those really cool, small, intimate memories that are part of their life. Just going slightly back though, you're saying you're now more of a planner than you've ever been as a marketer.
Yeah.
Do you think we do enough as an industry to really welcome marketers? Because we call it events, and we look for event planners and event organizers and event owners.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, probably every marketer at some point gets involved in some form of event, webinar, in-person, trade show, meet up, focus group, whatever. But they also probably don't see themselves as events people.
No, absolutely not. Before I joined Cvent, I had no idea that the events industry existed. I often say that when I'm talking at things, I'm like, oh, it's a whole industry. Okay. Whereas if you're from the events industry, you're like, of course, how dare you almost like insult us? But it's because I did events. I just did events. I have budget. I plan to go to an event or host an event. That's just something I'm doing as a marketer. I didn't see it as a whole world of connected things. And I think we don't do enough. That's the answer. I know, at Cvent, we've just bought Goldcast, Marketer Tool. We bought Splash, Marketer Tool. We know we can see the way the wind is blowing. We know who's holding the budget at the end of the day. More often than not, I mean, I know certainly in my business, I'm the budget holder. I work really closely with my event planner. I value my event planner. She knows what the heck she's doing, and she can, tell me and guide me to the right decisions. But at the end of the day, it's my budget. So that, I think, is often the setup in especially corporate businesses where the marketer is the budget holder and is the person that typically is building audiences and knows the journeys. So yes, we definitely need to talk to marketers more.
So as an experienced marketer and an experienced planner, clearly working very closely with the sales team, what advice have you got for anybody looking to do those smaller, more intimate events and that event-led growth when it comes to things like pipeline influence and attribution to how they have actually impacted revenue?
Yeah, so you need to be, so event-led growth is about being very intentional. It's not like, shall we have a lunch and it's just going to happen on Tuesday. I keep using the word journey because it's kind of like, if we're looking at targeted audiences with you and your sales team, the advice is go and figure out who the sales team are going to phone on a Monday morning. Like when they get in and they're like, right, I need to make an impact. Who are they picking up the phone to? That is your first group of people that, as the marketing and planning team, you should be like, right, what are we doing with that group of people? What have they had so far? What's next? Is it a lunch? What will the lunch be for? What will it yield? Going intentionally with that. But that should have been something you planned kind of way out, right? It's not just, oh, we're going to do it tomorrow, but it's like, that that's coming. And then also leave space. I'm going to double talk now, but also leave space for the freedom and flexibility to have one on Tuesday because it's timely, right? But you should have a plan that you can break and mold rather than there's no plan, right? That way, if you know that group of people that sales are calling on a Monday, you should know their funnel stage. If you know their funnel stage, you should know what the next stage in the funnel is and what you're trying to get them to. And sometimes be as cheeky as to ask, we called you to this lunch because we know you're considering us. Just tell them. Like, you can't lie and say, oh, I just wanted to give you like a book.
I will be bringing a contract.
Honestly. So we have a really cool salesperson who turned up to IMEX. She said, I need a printer at IMEX. Right? Imagine going to IMEX Frankfurt. She's like, I need a printer. We're like, why? She's like, because I want to print contracts on site in case someone is that ready. And they were, and we did, and they signed. Like, that's intentionality, is it not?
And it's really interesting because I think that does actually change a little bit depending on which region you're in, right? In America, it's much, there's so many shows that the business is done on the show floor. I mean, literally with PDQs and credit cards and things like that, right? Not just the signed contract, but the actual transaction is taking place and things like that. Maybe that's just maybe more of a British thing that we're a bit more reserved.
Sure. I mean, I guess I wouldn't always love the fact, but that's why I say, if you're intentional, I'm not going to turn up here at Confex with someone I've never spoken to before and you get me to sign a contract. It's ridiculous. You got to date me first, take me out to dinner. But if we're like talking, like there's a particular person that I want to do a partnership with and I've been mulling it over. And he sent me a text message and he's like, are you going to be at the show today? I know I want to do the partnership. I'm ready to go. I just haven't had time. So if he turns up and sees me, because I'm a part of his journey, right? So he's going to turn up at the show, he's going to see me and I'm going to say, yeah, I'm ready to go.
I think actually as well, if you think about in-person elements and events, they give an opportune time to maybe not do that on the stand, but maybe go and have dinner and celebrate it and talk about what's next and have that conversation about what's coming after the contract is signed and stuff, right? So very interesting. What I've also heard from Felicia is that she's got a little ring fence budget that nobody else knows about, but in the spur of the moment things.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your opinion then, what does the perfect designed smaller event look like?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. I think it has to be designed based on, those new metrics that we're looking at of like, not the how many, not the what. So it's not clicks. It's not they clicked on and they registered, but it's why. So it's, we've been talking about the why since Simon Sinek, right? Like, who are these people and why are they coming? So then it should be designed around their need. Because sometimes, like we talk to lots of associations, we do lots of smaller events for the association groups. They just want to talk to each other. They want to find out like what's good practice in the associations world at the moment. Sometimes they want to tell us what's not working, which we love hearing. So we'll often have like small forums and focus groups. The perfect design for that is comfortable, relaxed, give that opportunity for people to talk to each other and share. Maybe it isn't dinner in a busy restaurant because they won't be able to hear each other. They don't just want to come and have fun. They want education. So I need to know who that group is and what they're there for. Then I design it around them. I had someone take me to a wonderful concert last year. I should give her a shout out. It's Laura, event exec. Thank you very much. Took me to Usher. And I then ended up saying, oh, I should buy concert tickets for people and then invite people and take them to concerts because she's converted me. And then it was Faye Sharp who said, nope. What she did is she looked at your LinkedIn. She saw you liked Usher. She saw you were reaching out. Can someone take you? She's tapped into what you're about. It's very personal, very one-to-one. And I know we don't always have the time to do a lot of one-to-one, but if you've got a prospect that you think is, worth the time, figure out what they like. Go and stalk them on LinkedIn or whatever social tool we're using, because that's actually probably going to get you more than they clicked on your website page,
Great way for the salespeople to get gigs and things through
Absolutely. I need to take them to the Crufts Dog Show because they love dogs.
I love just going back to what you were saying about the associations, though, just to make a real point of that as the supplier, the company that is providing solutions and stuff like that, by being the facilitator of those events, you're actually giving people a time and a space to come together with their peers to have a discussion without them having to fund that themselves.
Yeah.
And there's clear value there to maybe their leadership or something like that, that this is not costing us anything, but this will be valuable for X, Y, and Z because we're getting to meet with all of these other associations and learn from what they're doing and maybe have a bit of a whinge about the same things and just make sure I'm not going mad and having the same challenges and things like that. So I think that in itself as a support mechanism for those companies and customers and things like that, or prospects, is really valuable to them, right? And then from you, like you said, can glean so much from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get to know more about them.
Absolutely. What would you say is a don't, though? What don't we do at these smaller, more intimate events? If you had a salesperson come to you and said, I want to do this, or you had another person in the event team or the marketing team, I think we should do this. What's like, stay clear of?
Yeah. So at the event itself, I'll get to the at the event. The prior to the event is the choosing, do we have that event or not? I've spoken about sales, you've spoken about sales, but do we want to be led by sales all the time? No, is the answer. We need to put some marketing and event intelligence behind the why we're doing the event. And sales will often say they have to have an event. It's very important. This is the crew. This is the group. And it's not, So I think a big don't would be don't let yourself be driven and led by what sales say. Ugh, am I going to get in trouble for that? Maybe.
Jamie Vaughan will probably have a difference of opinion, definitely on that.
But I tell you, so the way our sort of heads are split, so you've got Reggie and you've got Chuck, right? So Reggie's an event guy. He's a through and through event guy, and Chuck is a sales and marketing guy, but he's more of a sales guy. And even he's been looking at our events one by one across the globe, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And we're like, but sales said, and he's like, no. He's like, I'm the head of sales. And even I'm about saying, cut it off. Yeah. Right. So it's a big deal when the head of sales is like, don't do that. But I would say at the events themselves, try just not to, it's back to what I said, don't mismatch the purpose of why you got together. Like if you're together to just eat dinner and build a relationship, do that. Stick with it. If you are smelling a bit of an opportunity to take it in a different direction, you just have to be gentle as how you steer it. It has to be in line with why you said, if you bamboozle people, you get them on site and then you do something completely different, you will not get them back and you will ruin a relationship. It's like, I'm going to give you a wild example. So in the dating world, right, we're going back to dating. Someone said, we're going to go to dinner and whatnot, but I just need to meet you at mine first. Okay. Well, actually, the restaurant, something. Let's put Netflix on. Hold on. What's going on here? There we go. Don't do that. Don't Netflix and chill someone. When you said...
I think another interesting point might also be where, you invited a prospect maybe along to one of these things. they probably feel somewhat committed to be having a conversation about business. I think a really brave thing for the sales team would be to go, do you know what? This is not about this.
Yeah.
Let's have another chat, a separate time. Let's focus on that because we probably can't dig into that too deep right now. Let's just enjoy why we're here.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people would respect that kind of approach.
I think so. I would, honestly, I would. And what will probably happen is it will organically lead back to some business chit chat. If you have enough business leaders around the table or, you know, leaders of particular areas, they're going to want to talk about stuff that is like similar. So yeah, you can just let that flow and happen organically.
Okay. So Adam's going to go off and Google Usher. And also try and find out what Chuck's interested in as well.
So right now it's Bruno Mars. I can't get a Bruno Mars ticket for love nor money. So again, if anyone wants to take me, I'm free.
Anybody wants to supply to Cvent? Practical playbooks then. Is there a Cvent publication, report, content around how event organizers, marketers can do this? Should there be one in the works? Is there one coming from Felicia and the team?
There is one. We've just released Event-Led Growth for Dummies. With Wiley. Our dummies books always fly off the shelves because they literally are that. They are step by step. What are we doing? Why are we doing? How are we doing? How do you influence internally as well? As a big deal. You have to get your internal stakeholders on board with this as well because it is a mind shift. It isn't just, you know, you saying, oh, I'm going to think about events differently. Your whole organization has to get behind it as well. So Event-Led Growth for Dummies is available on our website in our resources section. So yeah, you can go and get it.
A fun question. One thing you'd like to see more of in the industry at the moment, and this could be outside of what we've currently discussed.
Yeah.
And one thing you wish you would see less of. Or 17 things you would like to see less of, maybe.
One thing I'd like to see more of, I guess I would like to challenge myself in this as well. I'd love to see, but I don't know if it's an industry thing. I would love to see more speakers that carry a kind of celeb weight, but are real experts in an area. You're like, what does that mean?
Nobody knows what they're talking about.
No, it's more like it's a current challenge I have, right? Coming up, if anyone's got any ideas, I don't know how you get them to me, but please just send to LinkedIn because, you know, coming up to Cvent Connect, I like celebs as much as the next person and I hire them because I know they're a draw and we're all suckers for it. We all come because we want to see someone cool, right? Another Dermot O'Leary. But I would really like there to be like this. I want to see the person that runs, I don't know, Buckingham Palace's something, because it's a great event, but they've got some state. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking for people with expertise in an area that of uniqueness to us.
Yeah.
Like why I want influencers in our industry that are actual influencers, right? I could be an influencer.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
You are an influencer. You are.
But I would like our industry to just be lifted up into this, like, did you know that's the person that planned, like, you know, in Fashion Week and they are someone that we should be following. Also, do you know what I mean?
I think that's a fantastic idea. You know, we've got so many big things, like we've got the Winter Olympics going off at the moment. Surely there's people in their event team that are doing really interesting, like the challenges of just working in the Winter Olympics, right? And
exactly.
hosting people and corporates and all these kinds of things and sponsors and like how would you, and the things that go off and around the event.
All of that. I'd love that. And or okay, and then I'll bring it up and then bring it back down to our level. So bring it back up. Super Bowl just happened. Who organized those trees? Who got those people trees running around? All right, we're not doing Super Bowl.
See, unfortunately, there's so much. I did an article on the Super Bowl from a tech perspective, and you have to do so much research to try and just find out what anybody's doing on it because everything's wrapped up in an NDA.
Of course.
So, you know what I mean? Like, it's super, super secretive because they are such big things. But I love that idea. I would also challenge another one, which is similar, which is more of those leading the stages in the events industry, talking to more other industries about the value of our industry.
Absolutely.
Right? We often bring people into the events industry from outside in other sectors and other industries to talk about their, you know, science, whatever.
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking more to other sectors about the value of experiences and events?
Yeah, that's exact. I mean, you're on my page. Like, uplift us and what we do and make sure everybody knows about it. So that would be definitely more of. In terms of less of, double counting attendees. No, my conference was so big. No.
You should come to Abu Dhabi and Dubai because they do it on scale.
No, I mean, it's fine. Everyone knows. But I guess, I don't know. I think it's a hard one because everyone's just trying their best. I know it sounds a bit wishy-washy, but everyone's just trying stuff. And sometimes things are tried and tested and they just work. Like, I've often challenged, I'm going to give you such a, again, random example. I've often challenged conference music. Like, you know, when you're at the after party and the music's just saying, we've come too far. Oh my gosh, I'm Daft Punk again. But when you try and go different, it doesn't necessarily crowd please. So you have to really play this like balance between what's tried and tested. Beer and wine works. It just works. It is what it is. Meat at events just works. You know what I mean? Because it kind of is. But then someone steps out and says, I'm going to make it all vegan, or I'm going to make it all veggie, or I'm going to make it all non-alcoholic. And they will get absolutely criticized. The food wasn't as good. I didn't get a drink. So it's such a hard balance.
See, I would challenge you on that, Felicia.
Yeah, challenge me.
That your job as an amazing event planner is to give people experiences they would never give themselves the space to.
Absolutely.
Right? And music is an interesting one because I've got quite an eclectic taste in music. But even my friends introduced me to music that I probably wouldn't have pressed play on, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm down a rabbit hole of Spotify of all of these tunes and music and associated artists and things like that, right? So while, yes, nobody's going to complain when they hear Daft Punk or some of the golden tunes that everybody loves to dance to, why not be selfish with it? It's your event.
You know? And sometimes I am. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I absolutely am. Like, I know what drinks I particularly like. I know I like a mocktail that's just tasty, but everyone's like, where's the bit? Like, I do it, but I feel for people. I'm asking for something that I know is going to be challenging and hard. So I'd like to see less of the status quo. I'm going to put it out there. That's what I'd like.
One final question then as we finish. And thank you very much for giving me your time today. Have you looked into how much Bruno Mars is to book for Cvent Connect Europe?
No, given that the concert tickets are £400 a pop. Am I old? But were concert tickets not cheaper than this before?
The cost of events have gone up, Felicia.
That's what it is. It's economics.
I think a gentleman like Bruno Mars can probably demand it and people will pay it.
Why not?
But yeah, it's become eye-wateringly expensive to go to gigs and things like that. Felicia, thank you very much. We'll point people in the right direction for the Dummies Guide.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that anybody should be looking at when it comes to Cvent at the moment? Any other content, any upcoming events, things like that? How can they get themselves on a dinner?
Engage. Yeah, I mean, we've got everything: podcasts, webinars, all sorts. What I'm doing at the moment, I'm leading our global content strategy around specific topics. Right now, we're in trends. In our next quarter, hopefully it will be trust. It's around trust and human connection and how to build that human connection. So there's a lot of content coming out. We're actually releasing a report around how people are feeling about trust with brands, trust in the world. How are they trusted? How do they prove their ROIs? There's a lot of content about to come out. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much, mate. And hopefully we'll get you back in another episode very shortly.
Well, thanks for having me.